Judas took blood money for Jesus, hoping that it would lead to a rebellion. So Judas thinks there's going to be a kingdom on this earth. So he doesn't, we are so judgmental of Judas Iscariot. Well, he betrayed Christ. We've done that in our life. So before we throw stones at Judas, let's think about the times in our life where we've said nasty things to God, or told him we didn't want anything to do with him, or said, I don't need your healing power. You've done enough. Anybody else besides me willing to admit that publicly right here in church this morning? 7 of us. The rest of y'all, we got some deep confessions. We got one in the booth. Hands raised at the top. That's Ellen. I know that's Ellen, and I'm calling her out for everybody to see. Ellen from Alabama. Let's go, Ellen. Judas. Saying, how could you, Judas? How could you do that? Well, Judas is saying, man, I'm the treasurer of this group. I keep the money. And we know he stole the money. John referred to that Judas kept the money and also stole from the bag, and Jesus still kept him in his inner circle. Well, that's because Jesus was using it for his... No, Jesus is not a Pharisee. Jesus is not a critical, hyper-religious, self-centered, ignorant punk of a king. And that's what we paint him as when we say, well, Judas is just there to serve the purposes of God. God doesn't use any human as a throwaway. And Judas... he knew it was going to betray him, but Judas thought he would betray him, and then Jesus would lead the rebellion that Judas was hoping for. And so the Bible tells us that Judas was the one with his hand in the bowl with Jesus at the time. Talk about a weird moment. You sit with all your friends, somebody's going to betray me. Who is it? The one eating with me? Everybody looks at Judas. Oops. I didn't want that anyway. I want that chip and salsa. My bad. You got the white sauce? I'm not feeling this. You can imagine the moment and what the tension would have been in that room whenever the meal was fixed and the meat smelled delicious and all of the food had been prepared, and it's like Thanksgiving meal. And they're sitting there and they're having their dinner and they're excited and they're having a lot of smiles, because the disciples, they would eat, but they wouldn't eat like this all the time. They were living out, and they sit there and they're talking, and then Jesus says, hey, yeah, it's going to be this guy right here. You can imagine the moment in the room where everybody was like, I just want him to leave now. You ever been betrayed by somebody? You ever been hurt? You ever had things said about you that you know weren't true, but yet people believe them that you thought knew you? Have you ever had somebody you really cared for that you know they'd care for you, but they just don't care for you more than they care for themselves? Have you had relationships in your life that you know suffered because of other relationships before those relationships? Is there people in your life right now that you're just frustrated with, you're angry at, you're wishing they were different or did something different, and you felt like they've just betrayed you? Because I don't know about you, but there's nothing in my life that makes me more angry than when I'm disrespected. And maybe that's a pride thing, but also there's a part of it where there's a lot of things I'll do for people, but disrespect generally is never one. Like, I won't disrespect you. I may not agree with you, but I'm not going to disrespect you. And when you feel betrayed, you almost feel like that person just step on you, they don't care. Now, how in the world could you host a dinner party and invite that person with all of your closest friends knowing they're not going to change? See, it's hard to understand. It's hard to understand how you could love somebody that you know was going to hurt you, but yet you still love them. Isn't that true? And when because it's hard for us to understand, I want you to let that be the beginning of you trying to understand who God really is. You have so much trouble trying to understand how he can forgive your sin, how he can forgive your shame, how he can forgive all the guilt and the things you've done wrong. And you need to realize you can't even begin to understand the love that Jesus had for a traitor. So why do we try to understand the way Jesus loves us when we can't? You are so much bigger and better in his eye than you'll ever imagine. But he's asking us to love our betrayers. This is the gospel message. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any new content or videos, and tell all your friends. Also, we're here live every Sunday. We'll see you soon.